Welcome back to the Sonic Unleashed playthrough, and it's time for another night stage. We're going
I'm bored of these.
Chun-nan, and honestly, this night stage is pretty good. I like it. It's got the best platforming versus action balance. It's got that level length that's just right for this style of play. If every night stage in the game had been like this, I guarantee you this game would not have been so badly received.
The Chun-nan also has one of the better day stages too, if I remember, or at least
it's my favorite day stage, and it's kind of I kind of wish they used Dragon Road instead of Rooftop Run in Sonic Generations, because Generations would have had one less city level, and that could always be only be a good thing, and B, it just has a more Sonic-like aesthetic to it. Actually, it has more of a Freedom Planet aesthetic to it now that I'm thinking about it retroactively.
Well, this predates that, so I don't think.
Yeah, I know. It's just like, it's got that Asia Land look to it, and that's what Chun-nan is. It's Asia Land. It's it is to the Asian countries what Spagonia is to the European ones. It's just everything Asian.
I see more Chinese influence than Japanese, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, but they're also selling like Japanese foods and stuff, and there's a few people with Taiwanese names here or something. It's just really, I don't even know. It all just sort of blends together.
All I know is that Lynn looks high as shit.
She does. Oh man.
She's like, giant furry hedgehog creature thing. That's cool. That's cool, man.
It's come here to save the day.
This is one of the very few times during the game where you have to talk to someone to progress. And when the game first came out, people were complaining about the hub worlds. Like, oh, why do I have to go through these hub worlds? Why do I have to talk to these people to go on? No, you don't. You just have to walk through them. And I know that's an unnecessary middle step, but it takes about 10 seconds.
Well, you also don't know that you don't have to talk to people the first time you play the game.
Well, you don't know that, but there's nothing stopping you from trying to move forward and finding out that you can. And like I say, it takes 10 seconds. That 10 seconds is like 1/3 of the time you spend waiting through load screens in Sonic 06.
So you're saying that you can ignore that guy completely and just touch the gate?
No, not this guy. This guy you have to talk to. It's like one of the only 2 times that you have to talk to someone, is what I just said.
Well, it's just your instinct too. Like, I go out of my way to talk to people in Sonic Adventure. Even 9 times out of 10, it's pointless.
Yeah, but if you happen to have that instinct, and then you're going to turn around and complain about talking to people in the hub world, then don't fucking complain about talking to people. It's your choice.
It's more that if it's there, you feel expected to do it, even if you don't necessarily want to. Is more what I'm getting at. It's just like there's a people there. I guess I gotta talk to them.
Ted, that wasn't pointless. It wasn't pointless in SA1. That woman fell in love with that statue.
I overcame that compulsion halfway through Final Fantasy VIII, my first RPG ever. You know why? Because the NPCs in that game are fucking boring.
Well, some of us played good RPGs for their first RPG ever, Lewis.
Like Sonic Chronicles.
Yeah.
Gareth, sit down, have a drink.
Okay.
I don't think hub worlds are something that's needed in any Sonic game, period. But I'm not offended by Unleash's hub worlds. I understand there's appeal, and especially in this game's case where there's different culture to be absorbed.
Yeah.
Look, nothing will ever be as bad as 06 and Boom, so...
Those were just everything that you could possibly do wrong in a hub world condensed into 2 games.
Yeah, these hub worlds are condensed. There's like 7 of them. I don't need that many, to be honest, but...
one of the hub worlds is literally just the small area around a fountain.
Yeah. Well, Halaska. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about Empire
City.
Oh. Well, Halaska is like tiny.
Alaska is like 3 igloos.
Yeah.
In a cluster.
That's a hub world.
And, it's all... I'm not saying you have to like it, okay? Liking and disregarding are 2 different things. But, complaining about it like it's the worst fucking thing ever is just being really melodramatic. And
Lewis, welcome to the internet.
I'm getting really tired of hearing that phrase. Just to be honest, people say "welcome to the internet." I know you're just being a joke, but people honestly use that phrase to justify petty bullshit.
Yeah, it's just like welcome to the internet, or maybe people could just stop being assholes. That's
well, most of the time, from what I've experienced, it's the justification for the lack of an argument. So
it's like, oh well, it's my right to be a petty idiot. Freedom of speech. Well, yeah, it's my right to tell you you're being a petty idiot. You petty idiot.
Yeah, it's
America.
freedom. It's freedom to speech. It's not. It's
yeah.
freedom of speech. It's not. It's not freedom of being listened to.
Freedom of speech, not freedom of consequences.
But since we're on the subject of the internet and reactions to the game, this game is actually a really interesting case of just looking at how people respond to the game over time. This and Devil May Cry 4 actually, because these days people are really mellow about Sonic Unleashed. It's just sort of a middle ground game for a lot of people now. For me included. I really liked the game at the time it came out, but only because it was such a stark contrast to Sonic 06 that it felt like the best thing ever by comparison.
yeah, anything after that had just even the hint of quality would be considered, oh my god, Sonic's back.
Yeah, it's like people really liked Secret Rings around that time for the same reason.
Yeah.
I think it is definitely a product of the time it came out in, though, because looking at it on its own merits, there are issues with there were issues with Unleashed when it came out too.
Yes.
But people were more willing to forgive the Werehog because for some reason people at the time 06 came out, people were really against having other characters in Sonic games. Like, oh, we don't want Knuckles and Silver anymore. And granted that the Sonic series still has too many characters, but it's more a matter of gameplay styles.
I've been saying this for years, but the whole Sonic Shitty Friends meme argument, it mostly sounds like, again, those people who don't really understand Sonic the Hedgehog in the first place complaining about it. But it was like, I don't want to play as Sonic Shitty Friends, I want to play as Sonic. And that makes the whole argument sound like it's about who you're playing as opposed to what you're doing while you're playing them.
Yes.
Yeah, I like Sonic's Shitty Friends, for the record.
The Werehog should be Knuckles, damn it!
But here's the thing: those arguments, I'm pretty sure the first people who made those arguments knew what they were talking about and just worded it poorly. But the more that argument spread, the more it actually became about the characters, and then there just became this stigma against even seeing another character in a Sonic game in the first place.
Well, I think some of that comes from, and I can agree with it in something like 06, right? So you have a game called Sonic the Hedgehog, and he is one of 12 playable characters. And it's a thing like in 06, over the time, you do spend a lot of time. I mean, obviously, you have Sonic, Shadow, and Silver are the main characters. Then you have all those other missions where you play like everyone else. And I mean, I love a lot of the other characters, and I've been wanting Knuckles playable again properly in like a main game for a while. But I can understand at this point, Unleashed with the exception of Secret Rings, which did come out first, but in terms of main canon games, this is the first 3D solo Sonic game. And I can kind of understand why Sega did that, but then it's gone to the point where, like, when they were promoting Lost World, they kept on using Sonic as the only playable character as a selling point. It's like, when you have 5 games in a row of just Sonic, it no longer becomes a selling point,
Yeah. What I'm talking about isn't even the complaint itself. It's more like the secondhand spread of certain complaints, especially on the internet, where obviously you have your reviewers who go really in depth and really think about what they're saying and what they mean, and then you have your middle ground people who know what's wrong with the game, not necessarily how to argue it, and then you have
IGN.
No, and then you have your really parody people, you really parrot-ish people on the internet who hear smarter, more in-depth reviewers saying a thing, or hear other people constantly complaining about a thing, and then they'll just complain about the same thing using the same words without really thinking about what they mean or what they're complaining about or clarifying at all. Well, and that's where the whole Sonic's Shitty Friends comes from.
Yeah, because I get people who are annoyed at that, but if again, I have no problem with people who dislike the Sonic franchise and give the games bad reviews. That's fine if you don't enjoy them, but if I have to read one more review that starts with, no Sonic shitty friends in this game, it's like, that was like 10 years ago. Like, find something.
Yeah.
Move on. It's like Lewis said, it's like find something else to complain about because you really are beating a dead horse at this point.
The thing is that a lot of the time Sonic games do kind of struggle with length because again, this is a franchise where the games just generally run a little bit short and have the risk of being a little bit repetitive. I think having alternate playable characters, not necessarily gameplay styles, would add that kind of fresh,
I agree.
And again, that is a point I give to Black Knight. Black Knight at this point is the only Sonic game to do that. They're completely optional characters that have varying play styles, but they play, they're almost practically like Sonic, just with different movesets. But like that's an aspect of that game I really enjoy.
I can compliment Black Knight for that, but it's still Black Knight.
Black Knight's fine.
Johnny, I love that game.
Yeah, but let's do it with the Super Mario 3D World way, the Sonic 3 and Knuckles way, the Freedom Planet way, that kind of thing.
They had a winning formula 20 years ago, damn it. But they decided, no, that's too good.
Well, to be fair, in SA1, Tails is pretty much Sonic just to fly.
Yeah, I know.
Like Knuckles is pretty much Sonic, but he can glide and punch. So they have done that in the past.
I'm going to give Sonic Adventure 1 a slight pass here because Sonic Adventure 1 was a straight-up experiment. In terms of what possible evolutions they could take with the overall gameplay formula to flesh it out and make it more interesting. And they tried a bunch of things in that game. They tried to add some light RPG elements, well, more like action RPG elements, really.
But it's just to the point where Sega or Sonic Team, whoever the hell is in charge, is almost cartoonishly stubborn with not wanting to stick with the formula that works.
I think Adventure 2 was even fine enough as it was. Like, I know people don't like mechs and stuff, but at least all three of those gameplay styles worked perfectly fine, and I thought that they were fun enough on their own merits. So.
Well, Johnny, you say that, but they did stick with the boost gameplay for
Hang
3
on.
games.
Hold that thought. This part. Fuck this part. This metal. This fucking metal.
You already tell you're trying to position the camera to get a better jumping angle.
I can't position the camera. You have no camera control in this part at all. No camera control whatsoever. It's fixed camera platforming without a drop shadow. And you know what? Do you know what? Okay, this is where the werehog's fucking slippery as fuck tag controls really screw you in the ass. And I have no idea how I made that on my first try, but I did.
Hooray.
And that makes me... and you know what? It's funny, because every time I want to record something, and I think when I get there, okay, I'm going to panic when I get to this part of the commentary, and it's going to be hilarious. I just coincidentally, by sheer dumb luck, get it at the first try.
And then you walk through in between springs and die in the first level of the game.
Yeah, Lewis, it's weird how you said that, but earlier in the part we saw you literally just walk off the edge. Which I want to say, Jason Griffith's werehog water screaming is hysterical. It sounds like his arm is being torn off. It's amazing.
No, his testicles are getting twisted.
The first thing I think of whenever I hear the werehog screaming in this game is Goku.
But just to go back to what you said, Gareth, about how they stuck with the boost formula for 3 games. You know what? I get what you're meaning, but at the same time, that angers me. Because why is it every time when they show a hint of consistency, they change the formula right under our noses?
Yeah, they just, what?
Well, there were 4 games theoretically in the adventure style. Like Adventure 1, 2, Shadow, and 06 were all basically the same.
Well, yeah. Here's the thing about about Heroes and Shadow specifically. They had to transfer they had to build basically a whole new engine from scratch because they went multi-platform, and their Dreamcast engine wouldn't work. And that's basically, in a nutshell, that's the reason Heroes and Shadow are so goddamn slippery, because they're running on a completely different and totally unpolished engine.
It's like every time it looks like they got a hint of. Again, I don't mean throwing words right now, because I know game development is much harder than it probably is, and I'm not a game developer, but it's that every time they show promise of sticking to a formula that works, they switch it for some unfucking explained reason, and it pisses me off.
Why were we on fire?
They got hit by
The
fire.
werehog on fire is hilarious.
Yeah, if you walk into a flamethrower, the werehog catches fire and starts dancing around like he's got to pee his pants.
Yeah.
But
And
you weren't
basically,
even taking damage, though. You were just
yeah,
on fire.
well, no, you're taking very small amounts of damage, and also it makes it hard to stop. So you need to walk through some water, some very shallow water, to put yourself out.
Yeah.
It's a gameplay mechanic that barely comes up, and I think this is like one of the only times it does in the mandatory stages. But yeah, we're already at the end of this stage.
Yeah, and for the record, I know I stated, was it this part? I don't know, these parts go on for so long. The damn werehogs. But I don't know if it was this part or last part where I said that I really have nothing to get angry about. But there are exceptions, mind you, because there are things, like from behind-the-scenes aspects, that legitimately annoy me. And the consistency of Sonic games and quality is one of those, like...
You know what
Sonic points for
legitimately
me.
annoys me? Trying to jump on really small boxes over instant death water as the werehog. For fuck's sake, man, learn to swim.
Johnny, I think it's because kind of because you know, as you said, you know, Sega and Sonic have always tried to emulate Mario. Mario doesn't always stick to the same gameplay style. I mean, like, you know, like Sunshine is pretty much 64 with the flood mechanic, but Galaxy's kind of different. Same with like 3D World. And,
But the
and
control's
the new
always
adventures.
good is the most thing. You can't even count on that with the
no,
Sonic
true.
games.
I will say in terms of the controls in the Boost era, the controls did get more refined and better with each game. Like Colors plays better than Unleashed, and Generations plays better than Colors and Unleashed. And then it's a shame that with Lost World, I mean, if Lost World, if he would have played like say Generations, just about the boost, I would have preferred it more than just let's completely re-change how he plays.
You know what I
With
really,
Sonic
really
Team.
like about this section in particular? Okay? That was me actually being electrocuted because I hit the enemy. But the entire section, did you see? This enemy, this electric enemy, was electrifying the water and damaging all the enemies in the area. But it doesn't hurt you. It doesn't hurt Sonic.
No, because it's your friend. Because you're the one that threw it.
Sonic is made of rubber, remember?
He took a bite of gum.
This jump
Yo
is
ho ho.
really fucking annoying. Okay, that looks really easy, that jump, to get over here and get this medal. But
Lewis,
it,
the end
actually
of the level's
two
over
medals.
there. Lewis.
Yeah, there are two medals over here, a sun medal and a moon medal. But this jump is like just barely long enough that if you don't make the jump perfectly, you won't be able to stretch your arms out and catch the ledge.
Yeah, quick tip. Whenever you're jumping from a grabbable ledge to another grabbable ledge, always hold down the grab button. Never press it when the reticle appears, because it's not going to work. Just hold the button down.
There are times when you just barely pass within range of a ledge that you can grab for like half a second, and you're not going to have time to react to that, especially at 30 frames per second. So, you know, you have to hold down the grab button, and you'll do it. It's kind of like Tomb Raider, actually, where, you know, you can hold down the grab button in the classic Tomb Raider games and just catch the first ledge that comes into range, except with stretchy arms.
The more I look at the werehogs, you think this is where they got the inspiration for Buffles? Tiny legs, massive body, you know?
Yeah, quite possibly.
This boss, the Dark Gaia Phoenix, it's the only boss in the game, apart from Eggman, I suppose, that has any like story significance or explanation. But
Yeah.
apparently there's just this mystical phoenix that guards the Chaos Emerald Temple here, and Dark Gaia possessed it.
I don't even remember there being that many bosses in the Wii version of the game. Did they cut some for this?
I don't think so. I think the Wii version has all the bosses, the HD version does.
Because I don't remember any other Dark
But, you
Gaia
know, but-
bosses
but
other than
they
this.
play differently. They're actually a lot of them are different. And in the case of the
Oh,
there's
there are
one-
medals to collect in the boss fight too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are. In all of the boss fights.
There's one boss in the Wii version which I forget which one it is, and I'll talk about when we get there. But the Wii version added just insane amounts of blood. And one of the bosses, like when you attack it, just green shit just spurts out of it. So it's amazing.
Anyway, this boss is actually really easy. You just put its fires out by throwing water at it, and then you combo it into oblivion.
I do like the God of War-esque QTEs when finishing off the bosses.
Yeah,
or
actually,
just
honestly,
doing a lot of damage.
As easy and basic as they are by the standards of this style, I find the werehog bosses more enjoyable than the day stage bosses
Yeah.
Because the day stage bosses are kind of just the same thing each time. And, you know, it's a vaguely entertaining same thing, but it's still the same thing.
I just... one of my favorite moments of Unleashed, and I know I'm jumping the gun a bit here. Well, I'm jumping the gun massively here, but when the werehog is decimating the Egg Dragoon. You know?
Yeah.
That is... that's hilarious, and I just love how he does that.
Now, one of the things with different phases is that each time, I think it takes like one extra jar of water to properly extinguish the fire. So you need to throw 2 at him the second time and 3 at him the third time, I think.
And also, I will say the nighttime boss theme is just fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, there's a big band or swing.
Yeah, it's like this big, and I like how, as we're hearing now, it actually segues into the world adventure, which is, it's so good.
Yeah, like a corrupted version of it.
Yeah. It's not as funny, Lewis, do you E-rank any level?
No.
Oh, okay, so we have to say the Tokyo Philharmonic Orchestra is the one who does they did the music for the opening cutscene and the world adventure that will play over the ending credits. If you fail a level or get an E rank, it plays like this purposely bad version of the world adventure where like everyone's off note and off key. It's amazing. It's like one of the funniest things ever. It is. It's like it's just so funny.
It's worth getting an E rank at least once just to hear it.
Yeah.
Some other game does something like that, and I can't remember off the top of my head which one it is. I've been saying that a lot today, actually, now that I think about it.
A game that has a purposely off-key song.
A comedically off-key version for like a low rank.
Lewis, use your shield, damn it!
We have a shield.
have a shield.
Oh, Paper Mario. That's what it is. I know we're probably we might be uploading Paper Mario in conjunction with this.
Conjunction junction.
But
What's your mouth junction?
Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door. If you win a battle with your party member down, instead of the normal victory jingle, it goes and I find that absolutely hilarious.
Because your partner was the bass player.
I like how Sonic just literally punched this bird in the crotch.
You know, this would be epic if we didn't see the pause screen every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
You know, normally I would say pausing won't save you, but apparently in this case it does. So.
This isn't Eggman, Lewis. Knock it off.
No. In Eggman Land, pausing is the only way to survive. And even then, you only have about a 50-50 shot.
You don't pause buffer during the section of the Egg Dragoon, do you? Because that's going to really take us out of it.
Dude, I pause during every QTE in this game. It's just you know, automatic at this point.
Oh God, Lewis, please don't tell me during when you spoil it when we fight Dark Gaia and you have to smash the 8 button 60 times. You don't pause after every single one of those.
No, I don't.
Again, I get the Warhawk a lot of shit, but what he just did to the Dark Gaia Phoenix there, where he just picks it up by the beak and fucking slams that son of a bitch on the floor. You know, that's amazing. I love that.
Actually, I think it would have been, if we fought more robots during the nighttime levels, I think that would have been a good chance to have gore that's not gore. Like, have him, like, rip gears and wires and shit out of the robots in a really brutal way, as opposed to just beating up smoke monsters. Like...
Yeah. Unfortunately, he just sort of kicks the robots away and they anticlimactically poof.
One thing I was kind of, you know, I don't care that the chaos symbols have never been explained in a game, but like at least this would have been the perfect time to maybe give us some level of backstory to them.
The echidnas made it and shit, didn't they?
No, they didn't. The Chaos Emeralds and the Master Emerald were there before the echidnas got there.
Exactly. So like, again,
they just always were.
It doesn't. Like, I'm not like taking points away from Unleashed. It doesn't matter, but like. Because obviously, like, it would be awkward to say Lost World. They're like, hey, look, let's talk about Chaos Emeralds. But because this plot is about them going to these specifically, you know, made Chaos Emerald, like, temples.
So, yeah, why can't they just revive all 7 Chaos Emeralds at one temple?
I love this.
Yeah! That's amazing.
Oh, God, you got really colorful all of a sudden, dude.
It's amazing what a suplex will do to you.
I also, you know, we were talking about the obviously black people with obviously white voices. Check out the ancient Chinese master who just sounds like your uncle.
Mike Pollock.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Okay, I like that added detail that was there for that cutscene where Chip like just runs into Sonic's back, and then he attempts to swipe him while simultaneously talking to the guy while walking towards him. You know, that's secondary jokes. I like that.
Yeah. I do like the Dark Gaia Phoenix just as a concept, but none of the other bosses after this get this kind of like subplot and resolution going on.
Well, isn't there another boss in Adabat, like where you push blocks or something like that? Or...
Yeah, the Dark Guardian. It does nothing. It has like no story significance whatsoever. It's just another anonymous Dark Gaia monster.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing. Like, this is someone. You know what? I put it on a pin a minute. You know why I love this? This is the first time I believe in the 3D games where we get a cutscene just literally showing Eggman's plan. Because normally a lot of cutscenes they're just either about Sonic or we see Eggman just beforehand, but very rarely. I mean, sometimes in Gamma's story, but that was because of Gamma was there. We very rarely just cut to Eggman.
Adventure 2 had the arc scenes.
Well, but Johnny, in Adventure 2, Eggman's a playable character. I'm talking in like
just to where Eggman's a villain.
We very rarely just get scenes of him and his plans. Now since the colors writers, we get at least one per game, where it's just him, formulating his plan and whatnot. But and also the fact that he takes down a Subway sandwich in 4 seconds is just amazing.
Yeah. But it's, they've got a really good and amusing villain, and it's kind of like DC with the Joker. If you got that kind of villain that steals the scene whenever they're on screen, you really got to take advantage of that. Give them the screen time they need to do their thing.
I love that line where Eggman goes, "I don't want to hear about his weight issues." That's a really this one again. Like I would say like Colors and to a certain extent Lost World, I'd say are funnier scripts, but Unleashed it is the first script where I think, as Johnny said earlier, it strikes a very nice balance of being serious but still having some comedic lines. I mean, like there's the odd funny joke in SA1 or like Heroes, but it's very
I like how
cute
his mustache droops.
I know.
It's like it's not even facial hair. It's like some sort of insectoid antenna with a lot of hair on it.
It makes you wonder, though, when his mustache droops, is it more like, I forgot the Chaos Emeralds, or thank God he's out of the picture?
Nah, when his mustache droops, it was because he forgot about the emeralds. He sees them fly off, so he's like, "Oh shit!" And then he goes into a rage.
But I like Eggman tries to save face, like it's what's the point if it's not any challenge, which is very obvious.
And he does the you buying it?
Because Sonic has a very similar line in both Secret Rings and Generations, and Adventure's no fun if there's no challenge. So you know what they're meant to be. They're perfect. The perfect opposite sides of the same coin.
Yeah, but in Sonic's case, he's just being cocky.
Nobody likes a whiner.
In Eggman's case, he's just trying to convince himself that he's not a complete dumbass.
The thing is that if either one of these characters were to win and the other were taken out of the picture, they'd instantly become really bored and wouldn't know what to do with their lives.
No. Actually, Sonic would have plenty to do because there's always another monster of the week.
I was gonna say quickly, what do you guys think of Urgo/Sass? Like compared to Orbot? I like him.
Isn't he basically the same guy, just without the red paint?
He has a different voice and personality to Orbot. He's kind of like the precursor. Orbot was conceived because everyone really liked Ergo, but I kind of prefer Orbot more. Partly because he has Cubot to bounce off of.
Well, I think Orbot works because Orbot has this kind of like sarcastic, he kind of doesn't like Eggman type of thing. I mean, Urgo has a few scenes where like he laughs at Eggman, but he very rarely mouths back to him when Orbot does. I also love when he's just given these kind of like generic, like the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. Nobody likes a whiner. So that dialogue's really quite funny.